There wasn't a single moment where I realized he had fallen out of love with me. It wasn't loud, it wasn't cruel. It was quiet, almost gentle. Like a candle that burns slower with each hour until the flame is gone and all that's left is smoke and a little warmth that soon fades. Asterisk, asterisk, he didn't stop loving me all at once. He just stopped noticing. Asterisk, asterisk, I remember the early days, how he used to touch my back lightly when walking past me in the kitchen, or how he would always pull my chair out before dinner, even if it was just us. I didn't need flowers or diamonds. His attention was everything. He used to smile with his eyes when he looked at me, the kind of smile that made my heart settle and beat faster at the same time. But somewhere along the way, that smile disappeared. And I didn't even notice when asterisk, asterisk, I don't know the exact day he began pulling away. Maybe it was after our 3rd anniversary. Or maybe it was on a regular Tuesday when life felt ordinary and he decided he wanted more. But it started subtly. Fewer texts during the day. No more "I miss you" in the middle of a meeting. He still came home, still kissed me on the forehead, still asked, "How was your day?" But something had changed. The warmth was gone. Asterisk, asterisk. He was present but not really there. Asterisk, asterisk, we would sit on the same couch, but I felt like I was in a different house. His body was close, but his mind was always somewhere else. I thought maybe it was work. He had a new boss, more pressure, longer hours. I told myself he was just tired. We all go through phases, right? Asterisk, asterisk, so I adjusted. I lowered my expectations. I stopped waiting for hugs when he walked through the door. I stopped initiating date nights. I even stopped talking about my own day. What was the point? He would just nod and scroll through his phone. Asterisk, asterisk, one night, I made his favorite dinner. Baked salmon with lemon or herbs. I set the table, lit candles, and even wore the dress he once said made me look like his whole world. He came home late, barely noticed. Said he already ate. Asterisk, asterisk, I laughed. I laughed right there in the middle of the kitchen, not because it was funny, but because I had no idea what else to do with the emptiness swelling inside me. Asterisk, asterisk, he didn't even ask why I had dressed up. And I didn't tell him. Asterisk, asterisk, that was the night I realized something deeper was wrong. This wasn't stress. This wasn't work. This wasn't a phase. This was distance, thick, heavy, emotional distance, and it had built a wall between us brick by silent brick. Asterisk, asterisk, I missed him so much. Even though he was right there. Asterisk, asterisk, some nights I would watch him sleep and wonder if he ever noticed I was slipping away too, if he'd even care. I started talking to myself in the mirror more than I talked to him. I cried in the shower because it was the only place I could hide the sound. Asterisk, asterisk. But I still loved him. That was the cruelest part. Even as he grew colder. Even as he forgot the little things. Even as he stopped seeing me the way he used to. My heart refused to let go. I clung to the version of him I once knew. The one who made pancakes on Sundays, who danced with me in the kitchen, who whispered promises into my neck. I told myself he'd come back to me. I didn't know then. He was already gone. Asterisk, asterisk, it was a Wednesday. Nothing special about the day, just an ordinary midweek evening. I was folding laundry, sipping cold coffee, and listening to the faint sound of the TV from the living room. He was home late again. Lately, working late had become the most used phrase in our house, right after I'm tired. Asterisk, asterisk, I didn't suspect anything. Not really. Not until I heard the buzz. Asterisk, asterisk, his phone lit up on the kitchen counter where he had carelessly left it. Got alone was strange. He never left his phone out. It was always in his pocket or face down or on silent. But that day it buzzed once, then again. I tried to ignore it, not because I trusted him blindly, but because I didn't want to be that wife, the one who checks his phone and searches for betrayal in every beep. Asterisk. But the third notification popped up, and it was impossible to unsee. Asterisk, asterisk, last night was amazing. I still smell you. Asterisk, asterisk, I froze. My heart didn't start pounding, it stopped. For a few seconds, time stood completely still. My brain tried to process the words, make excuses, explain it away. Maybe it was an old message. Maybe it was spam, maybe. Asterisk, asterisk, but when I picked up the phone, my hands shaking, my breath shallow, I saw her name, Madison. and the heart emoji next to it, asterisk asterisk. I opened the conversation before I could talk myself out of it. And what I found shattered something deep. Inside me, there were messages, weeks of them. Long late-night chats, flirty text, intimate photos, voice notes. She called him baby. He called her my escape. Asterisk asterisk escape from what? Asterisk from me, from our life? Asterisk asterisk there it was. The truth, not shouted, not confessed, not confronted. Just sitting there on a screen, waiting to ruin me. My knees buckled and I sat on the floor, not crying, not screaming, just empty. There is a kind of silence that exists when your heart breaks, not the dramatic kind they show in movies, but a hollow one where even your thoughts echo. Asterisk asterisk I kept reading. Asterisk asterisk wish I could wake up next to you again. Asterisk she doesn't even look at me the way you do. Asterisk you make me feel alive. Asterisk asterisk I wanted to stop. I should have stopped. But I couldn't. It was like watching a slow-motion accident, horrifying but impossible to turn away from. Asterisk asterisk I heard the door open, his keys drop in the bowl by the entrance. He was home. I stood up slowly, wiped my face, and placed the phone back exactly where it had been. He walked in with that same tired face he always wore, kissed me on the cheek like nothing was wrong, and said, "Long day." Asterisk asterisk I just looked at him. My eyes searched his face for some sign of guilt, some flicker of shame, but he didn't flinch. He didn't even notice my eyes were red. Asterisk asterisk he walked past me, complaining about traffic, as I stood there with 1,000 pieces of my heart crushed in my chest. Asterisk asterisk that night, I didn't say anything. Asterisk asterisk I lay next to him in bed, his back turned to me and stared at the ceiling. My head was screaming, but my mouth wouldn't open. I wanted to ask, why her? I wanted to yell, what did I do wrong? But all I did was hold the blanket tighter, because deep down a part of me still didn't want it to be true. Next morning, he kissed me on the forehead and left for work. Asterisk asterisk I watched him walk out the door, knowing now exactly where he was going. Asterisk asterisk and the worst part? Asterisk I still wanted him to turn around. Asterisk asterisk 3 days. That's how long I kept the secret I wasn't supposed to know. His secret. Asterisk asterisk I moved through the house like a ghost. I cooked dinner. I cleaned the bathroom. I responded to emails. And every time he walked in, I looked at him like a stranger wearing my husband's face. Asterisk asterisk he didn't notice the difference in me. That hurt more than anything. He didn't notice my quiet, my eyes, my shaking hands. Because he was too busy hiding his own truth, too deep in his other world. Asterisk asterisk but I couldn't hold it anymore. The silence was poisoning me. Asterisk asterisk that Sunday after breakfast, I waited until he was alone in the living room. He was scrolling through his phone, probably messaging her while I was sitting just 6 feet away. I sat across from him, took a breath that burned through my chest, and asked, asterisk asterisk, how long have you been seeing her? Asterisk asterisk he looked up slowly. His face didn't twist in confusion. He didn't say, what are you talking about? He didn't pretend. He just stared at me, and that silence gave me my answer. He knew what I knew. I waited for emotion, for shock, shame, panic, but none came. He blinked, looked down at the floor, and said, asterisk asterisk, I didn't want you to find out like this. Asterisk asterisk like this, as if there's a gentle, clean way to find out your husband is sleeping with another woman? Asterisk asterisk my heart didn't break all at once. It cracked in slow, painful pieces. With every word he said next, another part of me fell apart. Asterisk asterisk it just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Asterisk asterisk that line. That classic, cowardly line, I didn't mean for it to go this far. Asterisk as if love or loyalty slips out of your hands like a glass you accidentally drop. Asterisk asterisk I asked him if he loved her. He didn't answer. And that silence hurt more than any yes ever could. Asterisk asterisk I don't remember how long we sat there. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour. I just remember the weight in the room, like the air itself had thickened with betrayal. Asterisk asterisk he apologized. Asterisk not with tears, not with desperation. Asterisk but with dry, tired eyes and a voice that felt distant. Asterisk asterisk I'm sorry. Asterisk 2 words. So simple. So useless. Asterisk, asterisk, I didn't yell. I didn't scream or throw anything, even though a part of me wanted to tear the room apart. I just looked at him and said, asterisk, asterisk, you broke something in me I don't know how to fix. Asterisk, asterisk, and the worst part? Even as I said it, even after reading those texts, even after hearing him admit it, I still looked for a trace of the man I married, but he wasn't there. He had left long before the affair, long before Madison. He had been slowly disappearing from my life, piece by piece, smile by smile. Asterisk, asterisk, that night he slept on the couch. I lay in bed, staring at the wall, asking myself the same question over and over. Asterisk, asterisk, how do you stop loving someone who doesn't love you back the same way anymore? I didn't have an answer, because the truth is, I still loved him. Not the man who cheated. Not the one sitting on my couch like a stranger. But the version of him that used to hold me tight at night and call me his everything. The version that made me believe in forever. That version didn't exist anymore. But my heart hadn't caught up yet. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. You would think that finding out he cheated, that he chose someone else's body, someone else's attention, would kill the love instantly. But it didn't. It should have. Asterisk. But it didn't. Asterisk, asterisk. After the confrontation, the house fell into an unbearable silence. He started sleeping in the guest room. We stopped sharing meals. We moved like two people caught in a storm, drenched, broken, and refusing to look each other in the eyes. Still, we lived under the same roof, not because we didn't know how to leave, but because something inside me hadn't let go yet. Asterisk, asterisk, I kept asking myself. Asterisk, if he betrayed me, why does my heart still beat faster when I hear his footsteps? Asterisk, why? Do I still wait to hear the sound of his key in the door? The truth is, I loved him before I knew how to hate him. I didn't just love him for the good moments. I loved him through our deaths, our sleepless nights, our fights over nothing. And everything. I loved the way he used to tuck my hair behind my ear when I was upset. I loved the way he whispered, "I've got you," when I felt like falling apart. Asterisk, asterisk, and now I was supposed to just erase all that? Walk away as if it was never real? I couldn't. There were moments, especially at night, when I would think about confronting her instead of him. About screaming at the other woman, blaming her for stealing what was mine. But deep down, I knew she didn't steal him. He gave himself away, piece by piece, choice by choice, asterisk, asterisk, and I was left behind, trying to understand what I did wrong, asterisk. I started looking in the mirror differently, picking myself apart. Was I not enough? Had I changed too much? Gained weight? Lost interest? Did I become boring? Did I stop trying? Asterisk, asterisk, this wasn't just about him. It became a war inside me between the woman who wanted to walk away with her dignity and the woman who still wanted to be held by the same arms that had betrayed her. Asterisk, asterisk, I hated that. I still loved him. Asterisk, asterisk, love is supposed to be safe, right? Warm, healing, asterisk, asterisk, but now love was a wound that refused to close. It kept bleeding quietly, invisibly. I would smile at friends. I would show up to work. But inside I was two people, one trying to stand tall, the other curled up on the floor of my heart, sobbing, asterisk, asterisk, every time he passed by. Every time he avoided my eyes, it was like watching the ghost of my marriage haunting my life. He was right there. And yet, not asterisk, asterisk. Sometimes he'd look at me with a sadness I couldn't read, maybe guilt, maybe regret, but he never reached for me, never begged, never tried, and somehow that hurt the most, because I was still waiting for him to fight, to say it was a mistake, to say he'd do anything to fix it. But he didn't, and maybe that's when I began to understand. Loving him didn't mean I had to stay. Love doesn't always mean saving what's broken. Asterisk, sometimes. Love means letting go, even when every cell in your body is still clinging to hope. Asterisk, asterisk, one evening, I sat alone with our wedding album. Page after page of smiles, vows, dreams, and I cried. Not just because of what he did, but because of what we lost. Because of the woman I used to be when I believed in us. Because of the version of him who once made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. That version was gone, but I was still here. Asterisk, asterisk, wounded. Confused, still in love, but slowly learning that love alone isn't always enough. Asterisk, 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 There comes a moment in every broken heart's journey where the pain stops echoing and starts teaching. Asterisk, asterisk, for me, that moment didn't come with a dramatic goodbye or a suitcase thrown out the door. It came quietly. On a Sunday morning, with sunlight creeping through the window and birds chirping in the distance, as if the world outside didn't know mine had been falling apart. Asterisk, asterisk, I was brushing my teeth, staring blankly at my reflection. My eyes looked tired, older, but there was something else, something I hadn't seen in weeks. Clarity. Asterisk, asterisk, I had survived the hardest part, the discovery, the betrayal, the cold silence that followed. I had drowned in my own love for him, suffocated in confusion, questioned my worth. But that morning I looked at myself and didn't ask, why did he do it? I asked, why did I stay? Asterisk, asterisk, not out of anger, not out of shame, but out of honesty. Asterisk, asterisk, I realized I had been clinging to a version of him that no longer existed. I was in love with the memory of us, not the reality. I kept thinking that if I stayed long enough, if I hurt silently enough, maybe he would come back to me. Maybe he would remember what we had. Asterisk, asterisk, but what about me? Asterisk, when would it come back to me? Asterisk, asterisk, the woman I used to be was strong. Not perfect, but real. She laughed loudly, danced barefoot in the living room, cried during cheesy movies. She had dreams, passions, boundaries. And somewhere between his betrayal and my silence, I had buried her. Asterisk, asterisk, I made myself small to make space for his lies. Asterisk, I quieted my intuition so he could stay comfortable. Asterisk, and I forgave him in my heart 1,000 times, even when he didn't ask for it. Asterisk, asterisk, but now? Asterisk, now I wanted to forgive myself for staying, for bending, for believing love should hurt this much. Asterisk, asterisk, that day, I didn't scream, I didn't threaten. I didn't even ask him to leave. I simply sat him down and said, I love you. I probably always will, but I love me more now. Asterisk, asterisk, he didn't fight. Maybe deep down, he knew he had already lost me. Maybe he realized the damage he caused to push me so far away, there was no return. Or maybe, and this still stings, maybe he had stopped loving me long before I even knew. But I wasn't saying those words for him. I said them for me, for the woman who stood by him, for the woman who cried herself to sleep, for the woman who deserves so much more than a half-loved marriage. Asterisk, asterisk, I realized I didn't need revenge. I didn't need closure from him. Asterisk, I needed to choose myself, so I did. I started with small things. I took long walks without checking my phone. I ate what I wanted, watched what I loved, and filled the silence with music instead of overthinking. I called old friends, I journaled. I breathed, really breathed, without waiting for the other shoe to drop. Asterisk, asterisk, some days still hurt. Healing isn't a straight road. Asterisk, but every day, the weight of him gets lighter. Asterisk, asterisk, I'm not telling this story because I want pity. Asterisk, I'm telling it because someone out there needs to hear this. Asterisk, asterisk, you can love someone and still walk away. Asterisk, you can be broken and still choose to rebuild. Asterisk, you can lose them and still find yourself. Asterisk, asterisk, I found out my husband was sleeping with her. Asterisk, and for a while I still loved him. Asterisk, asterisk, but now? Now I love the woman who finally decided enough was enough. Now I love the woman who looked in the mirror and saw more than just pain. Asterisk, asterisk, she saw power. She saw possibility. She saw herself whole, scarred, but beautifully alive. Asterisk, asterisk, and that was the real beginning.